What's up, all you fishy people? ADD back at you with this week's video, and today I'm going to show you how to build your own personal fish stringer out of one of your broken rods. If you're like me, you've gone to Walmart and purchased one of these chain stringers before. They're like $1.50. They're pretty reasonable, but they don't seem to work the best with bigger fish. Yes, they work for trout, bluegill, perch, any smaller kind of fish, but for salmon and steelhead, they don't seem to work properly. So once you bonk and bleed your fish, you usually put that through the scales and close it. But if the fish is still squirming around, all it has to do is pop out and you lose your fish. You don't want to put all that time in and then lose one of your fish that you bonked and killed already. So in the last couple years, I've been coming up with prototypes and just kind of playing around to see how I want to carry out fish. So all this is a piece of wood that I wrapped in string with one of those stringers on there. But with this stringer, I actually did something different. I actually pinched where it connects, so it's a little bit harder to pull out. But with bigger fish, they still pull out. There's a couple of these that just don't work properly, and if the fish is squirming around, they just go pop, and they're gone. So what I came up with was a Fish Stringer 2.0. It's a lightweight, durable design that I've used for the last couple years, and I've put almost 1,000 fish on this stringer, and it seems to be holding up just fine. It's easy to use, and it's pretty comfortable in the hand when you're hiking out 4 big fish. But the design to this is pretty simple. All you have is one longer string. This is your ground that you can connect to a log or a rock, so your stringer doesn't float away after you catch a fish. And the 4 smaller in length ones is your actual fish stringer. So after you bonk and bleed the fish, all you have to do is slide this through the gills of the fish, pull it through its mouth, clamp it back onto the string, and cinch it tight. It doesn't matter how much that fish is moving around, it's not going to come off the stringer because it's actually like lassoed around and it's not going to go anywhere. But it's a pretty easy build, and all you really need is 5 carabiners, some cordage, and one of your broken rod handles. I like to use these rod handles because they're lightweight and they're kind of comfortable in the hand already. It's lighter than a wood handle, and it looks better, I think. So I'm going to grab one of my broken rods right here, and we're going to head downstairs, cut this handle to my liking. It's probably anywhere from 4 to 6 inches. Kind of depends on how big your hands are. But make sure you grab a rod that is not too old though, because some of those old rods like to have a solid core down the handle. But I'm pretty sure this one is hollow and it's going to work just fine. So I'm going to head downstairs, cut it up, and I'll see you guys back up here to put it all together. Alright, let's get down there. Alright guys, I just got back upstairs with my stringer handle. I cut this one a little bit smaller. It's a 4.5 inch handle, but it seems to fit perfectly in my hand. But it should work just fine. The next step is to file down the inner graphite because it's pretty sharp, and we're going to thread the line through the rod, and we don't want it to cut the line. So just file it down. You don't have to get crazy, but it should be smooth enough so it doesn't cut any line. That should be just fine. Well, after you're done filing your handle down, it's basically time to get started. So what I did is I grabbed all my supplies. I have 5 carabiners and 3 cords. It's like 2.5 feet to 3 feet long. It kind of depending on how long you want your stringer to be. It's pretty easy to cut and retie the carabiners back on after you know what length you want. But how I start off is on each of the 3 cords, I tie 1 carabiner on it. I tie I think it's called an anchor lock knot. It's kind of time consuming, but it seems to hold pretty well. You can tie whatever knot you really want. It kind of depends on what you feel comfortable holding your prized possession on, your fish. But I'm going to fast forward this real quick, get all 3 of them tied on there, and we will see you guys in a second. Alright, well I got all my 3 carabiners tied onto my cords. And the next step is to grab one of your carabiners and your handle. You want to thread the opposite side of the carabiner through your handle, pull it through, and leave that hanging about 4 inches or so. And then the same end of your cord, thread it back through your handle, pull it through, and there you go. You got one of your fish stringers. And now all you got to do is tie the next carabiner on this side. So we'll get that tied up and we'll be right back. Voila. Alright, well you got 2 on there, so the next step is basically to get your 3rd carabiner and slide it through your handle once more. Pull it through, about the same length, come back around, go through your handle again. This one can be a little more difficult because your cord is actually blocking the hole, but if you get something to push it through, it's pretty easy. That might be a little too big, so we're going to use this one. Just like that. Pull that tight. There we go. And the next step is to tie your last carabiner on the last thread. So we're going to get this one back on there and we'll be right back. Alright, well I got all 4 of them on there, but I got 3 the right length and 1 not. So basically all you got to do is take it off and retie it on there. Pretty simple, pretty quick. That should be good right about there. So we'll make that tight. A little longer, but we can always adapt that pretty quickly. There we go. We can make 2 longer, 2 not longer. Boom. I'm gonna cut the excess off. Burn it so it doesn't fray. Alright guys, once you got all 4 connected, the last step is to get your ground cord that's going to be connected to the log or a rock when you're fishing still, and get that tied up. So the best spot I found out is there's a couple of these strands above the handle. I usually just tie the ground cord just right onto that. Like I said, you can do whatever knot you want. I just do a quick fisherman's knot or the anchor loop knot, and then there we go. So you got your 4 fish stringers and then your ground cord. That's basically all it is. Pretty simple, pretty comfortable to hike out 4 fish. You can do it with 2 carabiners, or you can actually do it with 8 too. Like I've had 8 fish on these carabiners before, and it works out pretty well. It depends on how big your fish are. But it's pretty simple, and you'll be a lot better off carrying this out than those stupid chain link stringers. And you won't lose the fish this way either. Alright, well there we go. That's how I build my fish stringer 2.0. It's a pretty quick build, pretty simple. And you could run to Walmart and pay less than $3 for all the supplies here. So you can make multiples if you want to. If you've ever hiked out fish before, you know it's a pain in the butt if you don't have a stringer. So I usually have a couple of these, one in my backpack, one in another backpack, one in my truck, just in case. But these are a lifesaver. So if you guys liked this video, make sure you share it out to your friends. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And hopefully next time you see me, we're filling up this stringer with a whole bunch of fish. Hopefully. So we'll see you guys on the water, and hopefully next time we'll catch some more fish.